Hi guys, so we're going to start off this video with a good primer that I really love. It's Neutrogena Shine Control Primer. Since it's a rice protein complex, it's really not oily at all, which is why I love it and highly recommend it. And you're going to apply that all over your face, even on your eyelids and around your mouth with an angled foundation brush, which I did before the video. Next, we're going to take NYX HD Studio Photogenic Foundation. I am in the shade 01 Nude, which is really light. I think you can pick both of them up at Ulta. They're like $11 each, about, I'm pretty sure. And then we're going to use an e.l.f. powder brush. It has a flat top on it, which is why I really love it for liquid foundation, because it helps easy application and just even coverage. If you use another sort of brush, it doesn't work as well. So I don't recommend using another type of brush. And we're just gonna apply this everywhere. In the places you want the most coverage, use a dabbing motion. In the places you want the least amount of coverage, use a more circular, firm-handed motion, which means pressing down harder, more like you're painting a picture. The places I would do that are my ears and around my jawline and my neck. My problem areas and underneath my eyes, I'm going to use more of a dabbing motion, which I didn't really do there, so I'm going to have to go back on it and do it again. I don't recommend putting this all over your face unless you feel more confident like that, but if you don't have problem areas, don't put it all over your face. One other thing I do want to mention about applying foundation is if you use the circular motions, it also helps it blend into the other areas, because you don't want a big, huge foundation mark on one part of your face. Just make sure you blend really well, because I see a lot of people walking around with not blended foundation. So next we're going to take the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. I am in NC15, which is pretty light. And we're going to take a few squirts of that and apply it with a angled foundation brush, and we're going to apply it underneath our eyes in a sweeping sort of motion, but with shorter sort of motions than we did for the foundation, because this is a little more accurate. We're going to do it underneath the eyes, in the inner corners of the eyes, and in the outer corners. This really helps it if you have discoloration underneath your eyes, like I do. If you have really fair skin, you probably do. If you have more olive tone skin, you probably don't have as much. Also, I like to put this on my problem areas. Any extra I have, I put it on my problem areas, like acne, just redness, which I get a lot of random redness, not a lot of acne. Well, not as much acne, but yeah. And then we put it up right below our eyebrow and our brow bone and blend it really well there, because otherwise it'll be really oily. But we'll go in it with powder later, so it won't be as oily as I think it is. Okay, so next we're going to take a little cheap Ulta liquid eyeliner, and it's brown, but it comes out looking pretty dark. Um, it's just really cheap, it's like $3, but it works really well if you follow a few simple techniques. If you use short, stoppy motions, then it's really easy to cover up a lot of other things. And you start with the outside wing and really focusing on that, and then you use shorter motions um, from the outer eye in. Make sure you try to do that as much as possible and try to make the strokes as small as possible, because otherwise you're going to wind up with a big, huge mistake. Ink in, some ink in. So if you take a little farther look from your face and it evenly matches generally, um, then it's um, then it's good. Don't be too anal about it. Don't be too crazy. Next, we're gonna take a blush brush. This is an e.l.f. brush. It's a dome brush. Make sure it's clean. Mine's not clean. Sad brush. And this is the NYX All I Ever Wanted box. It's $20 on cherryculture.com, and you get all these beautiful eyeshadows, and we're going to use this beautiful powder to set our foundation. As with the liquid foundation, this is a powder setting. This is powder setting powder. Yes, it is. And we're going to dab it around the eyes because we want as much product underneath the eyes as with the liquid foundation. Sorry. And we're going to use more sweeping motions around the places that we don't want as much product to wind up on our skin, because the more sweepy it is, like you're painting a picture, then the less product winds up on your face. Make sure around the ears you get it a little bit behind the ears too, because otherwise you get a white thing behind your ear. I kind of have white neck right now. I'm really white, so I'm not going to find a lot of foundation that matches, but you know, whatever. Next, we're going to make sure that the foundation matches it all over by really using sweeping motions. It really moves the foundation, so be careful. Use the dabbing motions on the places you don't want to move the foundation. And just make sure it matches your neck color by doing a little ugly face, like a double chin. Give yourself a double chin and make sure you have even coverage everywhere. And make sure that you get your ear again. And around the blemish areas, really dab it again. Just sweep it really, really lightly if you're going to sweep it all. I use sweeping motions sometimes, as you saw there, but mostly dabbing motions in the places I don't want a lot. Next, we're going to take the same brush and we're going to put blush on the apples of our cheeks. We're going to use rotating motions up and around our eye. Make sure you miss the sort of concealer area around your eye for these motions. Next, we're going to take a Love and Beauty Forever 21 bronzer. It was about $5 at Forever 21. We're going to use the same brush we used for the blush and the powder, and we're going to make a fishy face like that and sort of use sweeping motions. Since this product is pretty heavy, it just packs on pretty well. use more of a sweeping motion. We also don't want any harsh lines with bronzer. It's really important that you don't have any harsh lines. I know the blush isn't showing up very well in that lighting, but it does show up, I swear. It looks a lot better in person. But the bronzer just helps, especially if you apply it very well. It makes you look less pale in some areas, and it makes it look like you have more dimension in other areas. For the nose, make sure that you use light strokes, as if you get it below your eyes, it'll look like you haven't slept in a few days. Make sure you get below your jaw and on the top of your head, and just blend everything out. Make sure there's no harsh lines. Blend it with your blush just a little bit. Don't make sure there's no sort of powder on your brush. Next, I'm using the complexion brush by e.l.f. And I'm just using it to make sure there's no harsh lines on my bronzer, because if there's harsh lines, then people can really see the bronzer and it looks really, really gross. It looks muddy. So yeah. Next, I'm taking my Naked Basics palette and I'm using the color Crave. It's the darkest of the darkest. And I'm going to use the e.l.f. Professionals eyeshadow brush. It's a white one. It didn't come in the kit that I bought. But we're going to use this to, we're going to take Crave, the black color, tap it off, then we're going to use it on top, right on top of the little liquid eyeliner we did. This just helps it make it look more black and more solid. It takes the gloss away. So that way we can use a cheap eyeliner as long as we have this Naked Urban Decay Basics palette in the fancy lingo. I don't know what I'm doing. But anyways, if we use the more expensive powders, then we can use more sort of cheap glossy finish liquid eyeliner. So I really stand by e.l.f. brushes, but I do have to keep reaching back for the product, especially for this brush, because it doesn't hold the product very well. So although they are good brushes to invest in, or good brushes to have, they aren't really good brushes to invest in. So if you want better brushes, try Sonia Kashuk. They are next best thing, I would say. And then the brush sets I would most love are definitely the Sigma brushes. They are my dream brushes. They're exactly like MAC brushes, but at literally half the price. So until I have enough money to invest in those brushes, I'm going to keep just packing on my products with nice e.l.f. brushes, which are about $3 each. And if you find good sales, like I found an awesome sale for my black brush kit from e.l.f. and it was $2.14 for the new year for all the brushes. So yeah, find some good sales with them. So next we're going to take an e.l.f. concealer brush and we're going to use Foxy right there, and we're going to apply it all over the lid and above lid areas. So this color is just a transition color. Just pack it on as much as you can and make sure you don't get it into the liquid eyeliner area. Just use soft sweeping motions like that. Don't be too harsh, because then it'll just, the product will just fall right off the brush. Being too soft though won't get the product on at all. It'll just stay on the brush. Also, make sure to get the inner corners. I know a lot of people skip this part, but I think it looks really good, especially if you use the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. The inner corners and right below your eye, make that sweeping motion, and it really brightens up the eye. Next, we're going to use this pink little color, WOS, from the Naked palette, and we're just going to pack that on more of the outer corner of the eyes, and we're just going to apply that more right on top of the Foxy. Make sure to blend it out a little bit more right above the wing there. If it does get a little bit on the black area, just go over it again with the Crave. So next we're going to take Venus, this sparkly white color, and we're going to powder it just on our eyelid, but use just soft pushing motions to sort of pack it on top of the Foxy and WOS, but just on the eyelid. And you can maybe even drag this a little in the crease, but pack it right below your eye. Make sure to only go a third. When going below the eye, make sure to only go about a third away from the inner corner of the eye. Next, we're going to take an eyeshadow C brush from e.l.f. and then we're going to take Naked 2. It's a really dark sort of gray, creamy color. It's hard to explain, but it's really pretty. And we're just going to brush this on our lash line. It's the outer third, sort of, outer half of the bottom lash line. And this just really helps open up my eyes. If I know it doesn't look good on some people's eye shapes, and this look just definitely doesn't look on good on some eye shapes. So you can totally skip this step if you want. I just think it looks really good with my eyes, so that's why I do it. If you feel it doesn't look good on your eyes, I can totally recommend something else you can do. Just leave me a little comment below and we can get that started for you. Next, we're going to take a contouring brush, and I really like this brush. This is one of my favorite brushes because it has a little dome on the top and it's really good for blending, which is what we're going to use it for. And we're just going to use swiping motions. A little longer than what I'm doing is ideal because you'll have to do less motions. Yeah, like that, more like that. When I'm going back narrating, I can see all the mistakes I'm making and I'm like, oh my gosh. Next, we're going to take a small angled brush and use this e.l.f. eyebrow kit to fill in our brows. I use the little powder on the right side. It's a little lighter. It goes well with more day-to-day wear. The darker is more glossy and it just goes better with sort of more fancy looks. So right there, the brush came off a little dark the first time, so I just ignored it and started filling in other parts. But I just usually take my finger and rub it up. Make sure you rub it up if you're making any mistakes on your eyebrows, because if you rub it down, then it's really annoying because you just did your eyeshadow. So it'll compromise the eyeshadow color if you rub it down because it'll just fall onto your eyes. So make sure you brush it up or towards your ear, sort of. And just follow the lines of your lashes and when initially filling them in, and then you go back and use these soft bristling motions to sort of fill in your eyebrows. Make sure it's darker on the bottom of your eyelash of your eyebrow and on the corner. Next, I'm going to take this chapstick that my boyfriend's mom makes. It's amazing. It works so well, and I'm just going to apply it over my lips. Since I applied a little bit of foundation on my lips, it's going to look pretty pale. Then I'm going to take my eyelash curler and just however long you can make that thing stay on your eyes without freaking out. And then I'm going to take, I didn't show you, but I should have, the L'Oreal Paris Voluminous Original. It's a little black thing, a little black tube with a golden cap and golden lettering. It's amazing. It is seriously the best mascara I've ever seen. I put on way too much mascara. You could just do one little swipe, one coat, and it would be enough. I like putting it on my bottom lash line. If you put it on your bottom lash line, please be careful. Just make sure you don't get it on your skin because I hate when girls walk around with that on their, with mascara like obviously drip down onto their skin. Unless you've been crying, you have no excuse. Like, please don't. And here my eye looks super freaky. It's like, I'm having a lot of fun making it look super freaky. But I find it if you look down, it really helps a lot, even though it makes your eye look really creepy. Again, you can curl your lashes over and over. I don't think I said this yet, but you can curl your lashes over and over. I think it helps to actually do that multiple times. And when you're putting on your eyelashes, make sure to blink a lot because otherwise you're just going to poke yourself in the eye with the mascara, which is never fun.